Hello, everyone. This is Monsef Afker, and thank you so much for joining us in this new call of Your Divine Uniqueness. So, as always, happy to connect with you, whether on the live call or on replay. And also very, very excited that Els Vanthuyne, Vanthuyne,
Vanthuyne. Yeah, it's
Vanthuyne.
difficult.
Thank you.
Vanthuyne. Yes. From the garden, it means. Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. Nice name. So yeah, Els Vanthuyne is with us for the first time on the show. And for those of you who are new to her, she is a psychologist, family constellation facilitator, inner child healer, and intuitive perceptor. So yeah, I'm really happy that she's here with us because I love the work she does, and also many times we have some patterns, we have issues that are running in the background we are not aware of, even though we've been doing a lot of healing work, we've been in our spiritual or healing journey for a long time, but still there are things that we don't understand or we are not aware of that really create some issues in our life. And here, like her message is about finding how how those patterns, those traumas that sometimes we unconsciously inherit from our lineage, from our parents or family system, and we keep holding those in our energy field. And if we are not, maybe like a generation is not aware of that, they pass this to the next one, and it keeps going. So yeah, so we will be talking about today about that, about how to let go with more ease and grace of those patterns, and also how to connect to the deep love that is really within the within our lineage, that we can find in our lineage. And so yeah, the topic is beyond inheritance, releasing family patterns and embracing inner wholeness. And also we'll have a Q&A where you can ask Els your questions. So as always, if you are on Zoom, you can raise your hand by pressing react, then raise hand. If you are on the phone, you can press *9. And also you can type your questions on the chat boxes on Zoom and on YouTube. And yeah, so with that, Els, welcome to the show. Very happy to have you with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Monsef. Nice to be here.
Wonderful. So yeah, in the beginning, I would love if you can tell us about yourself and also about the work you are doing.
Yeah. So I knew I wanted to study psychology when I was 16 years old. This was quite early. And I guess this was because of my family situation. So my father got sick when I was 12. And we didn't know at that time that he was very sick, but he was really annoying. He was really irritated. He was not nice to be around. So it was a stressful situation. And then when I was 14 years old, we heard that he had a sickness on his heart and he needed a transplantation, a heart transplantation. And then 1 year later, he got a heart transplantation. But then because of this transplantation, he had to take medications. And then he got throat cancer. And then they had to cut out his the cancer that was sitting here, so he couldn't talk anymore. And then because of this operation, they cutted muscles here. So it was awful. It was really a pot full of misery. And my father, he was not feeling good all these years, was sometimes like dying in the sofa. So it was really a very heavy period. And he died when I was 24 years old. So when I was 16, it was such a difficult situation. Also, my parents, my mother, she was taking care of my father. And I had no brothers or sisters, so I was alone. And I had nobody to talk to. I had nobody to share my heaviness, my emotions. So I felt really alone. And then I decided, like, I want to understand psychology. I want to get out of this situation. I don't know how, but I know it's possible. And that's when it all started. And then I also started to read Buddhism and all these kinds of things, to try to understand life and death and all these energies. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing about that. And yes, so this is what's like your experience with your father led you to more research, and also to try to understand and also learn how to heal the patterns, because many times from what I learned is not only like the like behaviors or traumas, it's also physical issues that can be transmitted through
Yeah, that's
our
true.
lineage.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love if you can tell us how do you see that, and how do you approach it? Like, how do you work with your clients
Yeah.
regarding those issues?
Maybe start with an example of the situation of me. So, for example, I was feeling a lot of guilt when I was young, and I didn't understand why. I was just all the time, I felt guilty for everything. And then I did one of my first constellations. So somebody else gave me a constellation at that time, of course. And there, the family pattern came to the surface, that the father of my father, he had to fight in the war, Second War, the World War, and there he had to fight, but he was, of course, they took him, the Nazis took him, and he had to work for them, and then he was in a team of probably 10 soldiers who had to work for the Nazis, and then he tried to flee, and he succeeded. So he fled, and then I guess it was an impulsive decision of him that he saw a chance to flee away, and then the consequences of his behavior was that all these other soldiers of his team were shot dead, because you may not flee from the camp, from the workplace. And then he felt very guilty because he was still alive, but all his mates were dead because of his action. And he felt very guilty. And of course, he saw a lot of awful things during the war. And then he got cancer. And then he died when he was 50 years old. And then my father was born. But of course, my father copied the patterns of his father. This was shut off from the heart, because when you endure the war, your heart is not open and receiving. It's in trauma, it's in shock. And my father also copied the guilt. So my father also felt a lot of guilt, not knowing why. And then he got sick on the heart, but he also got cancer. And he also died when he was 50 years old. So it's the same as his father. And then I was born, and I saw my father, and I copied his field and his patterns and all these things. And then, yeah, I felt guilty and I didn't understand. And then with this constellation, I saw the guilt going through different generations. And then I finally could leave my guilt by seeing my grandfather, and seeing, like, okay, this is your situation. This is not my situation. So I'm going to leave it with you. There it is possible to heal. When I carry it, I can't do anything about it because it's not my trauma. I can't heal, and nobody can heal the trauma of somebody else. So I can't heal it if I carry it. So this was the first time I could give something back to the previous generation, and I really felt a difference. And then the guilt diminished, and finally it went away. So this is an example, how it is possible that patterns go from one generation on to the other one. So in fact, when you are in the womb, I always say you get marinated 9 months. You are the waters of your mother, and you get completely marinated 9 months. And all the patterns of your family system at your mother's side, your father's side, you completely get encoded with it. And then you grow up in the belly. And sometimes, also for our parents, it was difficult to open their heart after all the trauma that has been passed through. And then there was no connection. So you had the patterns, but also feeling not connected. And then you got born with all these patterns, not knowing who you are, sometimes feeling not enough connection, sometimes a little bit, but sometimes not. Of some people have connections, luckily, but then it's difficult to be in life and to find your own way with all the energies that are not yours. And of course, our parents couldn't tell about this yet, because our consciousness is growing and we are growing, and our generation and the previous a little bit start to get to feel all these things, and we are searching our way out, and we are learning because of our um, way out to try to find ourselves again. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very beautiful. And yeah, because you talked that you returned that pattern to your father, and so my question is how can we do that, like, from a loving space? Because in general, when we recognize that we are holding a pattern that is not ours, we just inherited it, so we can react in different ways. For example, we may have some like resentment toward the parents for giving us something that is not ours, or in the other hand, we can feel like responsible and we want to heal that for them. So how can we like release with more love? And
Yeah, yeah, that's a beautiful question. It is difficult to release. It is really not easy. When you feel that you are carrying a pattern, for example, from your mother for your father, and in a constellation, when we try to give it back to them, the client is always going to feel guilty in the beginning. They feel like, oh no, my mother, she can't carry this. This is too heavy for her. I can't leave this with her. Almost everyone feels this. So it's very difficult to let go. But then, because in the constellation, you can see when, for example, your mother takes her trauma back, then things start moving for her. Then she can choose, of course, everyone can choose to look or to not look at the patterns. And when they don't look, they put it aside, and that's okay too. Um, because they have done it before we were born all the time. So it's okay. But when they want to look at it and they got their pattern or their trauma back, then things start to shift. They feel their own feelings again. And for example, today I had a client, and we went back to her great grandfather, and he beated his son almost to death, really, really hard, a lot of suffering, a lot of aggression, no love. And because she could give these emotions back to him, then he could feel what happened. He could feel like, oh, this is not okay what I've done. He could feel his own emotions again. And also the grandfather, so his son, he could feel his own emotions, and he became mad, and he became angry to his father, like, what did you do? You all my life is going wrong because of you, of what you did. And he felt this anger, and he could say it to his father, and then the patterns start changing. And because of this, the great grandfather could feel like, oh, this is damn, I did something very bad. And then the love starts to come in. There's forgiveness between these two people, not anymore from the client, but between these two people. And then the great grandfather could say, like, sorry, son, I didn't know this had such a huge impact for you, and I'm so sorry. I see your beauty, I see your beautiful intentions, and I'm so sorry that I couldn't see it when I was alive. And then the love starts flowing. And then you see that in this generation, the healthy male energy is coming back. So the great grandfather who had a very aggressive life, he became soft and his heart opened and he could see his son and he could feel love for his son. And then the son felt welcome and the son could feel his trauma and cry and let everything go, and then feel love for his father again. And then because the grandfather, he had another son, the father of my client, he could see his child and saying like, oh, I'm sorry, child. I was so shut off of my heart because all the aggression I had endured. I'm so sorry, but now I can see you. I can be there for you. And then this father feel this love. And then this father can turn to his daughter like, oh, daughter, you're so beautiful. I'm sorry I couldn't see you because I didn't receive the love, but now I feel the love and I love you too. And then the client can also open their heart to receive all the love that is coming from this whole lineage of male energy, healthy male energy, not a aggressive one, not a separated, but a healthy, powerful, loving male energy. And then, because of this story, she could feel all these movements. She could let go of the patterns she was carrying, but also her judgment a little bit. In the beginning, she judged like, "Whoa, this was too heavy for us. It was not nice." But then she saw what happened, and she saw the lessons, and she became soft also. So then she felt the love, and she could feel the love for her, even for her grandfather. She could really feel his love. This was very beautiful. So
Yeah.
this is one part of the love that you can feel in a constellation. But it's also for us a challenge to, if you don't have a good relationship with your parents, to also try to love your parents, to also try to love your father or your mother. Sometimes the relations it's okay, of course, and then they are both emotions, bad emotions, nice emotions, good emotions. But sometimes the relationship is really bad and you can't see your parents anymore because it's too toxic. But even then, it's a challenge to sit in your living room on your own and to try to feel the love for your mother, to try to feel the love for your father. Because as a child, we always have loved our parents. Deep under our wounds, there is love. There is always love. We started to carrying the patterns because we loved them and we needed them, of course, as a child. But the love is always there. But it's not difficult because um, when it's a toxic relationship, it's a challenge to feel the love for your parents and at the same time to put your boundaries. Like, okay, don't come close to me, don't criticize me, stop with this, stop with that. I'm not taking this anymore. But I love you. It's a difficult balance to feel both of these emotions. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, can I say something more? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Go
Um, I it's also when you can love your parents, the love for yourself also grows. When you have a lot of anger, and of course, this is a normal period into your healing path, but then often it's also difficult to love yourself. But and also the other way around, when you love yourself more, then you're going to feel also more love for your parents. Yeah.
Exactly. And I love that you mentioned that you talked about the toxic relationships because many times we don't want even to feel the energy of the person or be in their presence because we have difficult time forgiving them.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, so so does it, like, in general, when the relationship is more toxic, does it takes more time to heal through the family constellations comparing to others?
I don't think so. It's dependent on your own consciousness. Some people can make big shifts quite quick, and other people really need a long time. So it's not always about the heavy patterns or not heavy. It's more about the consciousness of the person. Yeah, yeah, indeed.
Yeah. And also, like you mentioned, when we have more love to ourselves, it becomes easier for us to understand others because
Yeah,
we did the same for ourselves because no one is perfect.
yeah, exactly.
And also we have our own traumas. So it
Yeah,
becomes easier
yeah,
to
and
understand.
it's also it's easier to love your parents when you have already worked on your own traumas as a child. When all your traumas are still active, it's so difficult to love your parents because you feel everything and this went wrong and you did this to me, and so it's very difficult. But when you start to heal your own past, your own injuries with with your parents, then it gets softer, and then you afterwards, it's always easier to see what you've learned from a situation. When you go through it, you can't see it yet, of course. Maybe you know it somewhere, but you can't see it. But when you healed it, then it's like, wow, now I learned this. This brought me something. I'm really glad that I had to endure this and that I learned this lesson. And then it's much easier to love your parents again. Yeah. So, and I think the more you heal your own child wounds, the more you can love yourself and your parents. And then, of course, all the other persons also. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Inner child healing, it's very, very important, like
Yeah.
to take that journey to connect with our um, inner child.
Yeah.
And yeah, so so do we also, like, when healing, like, our own traumas, because there are some that we inherit and some
Mm-hmm.
that happens from in our own lifetime,
Mm-hmm.
like the constellation, does it also help to move through that and to heal that, or is it more like family related?
No. Constellation is, in fact, a technique. It's not really a psychological theory. But so the founder of this is Bert Hellinger, and he used the theory. So he's from Germany. He used the theory of Noche. He's from Hungary. He already died, and he invented the systemic theory. It's a psychological theory, and it is about that the context of a person, the family where a person grows up, has influence on the person, and he has a lot of patterns that he discovered, and Bert Hellinger used this, but then he said, like, okay, let's do a role play. Bert Hellinger, founder, but he didn't knew family constellations at that time. And then he put someone for the father, someone else for the mother, someone for the child. And then these persons start talking what happened and how they feel. And he was looking like, whoa, what is happening here? But Bert Hellinger, he went also to, when he was younger, he went to South Africa, to the Zulus. He was a missionaries. I don't know if it is the right English word, like a priest,
Yeah.
but he was interested in their culture. So the Zulus learned him their culture and their rituals and their energy work. So that's why when he saw this role play, it remembered him to the energy work that Zulus did in Africa. So he tried it again and again and again, and it worked. But this is indeed about family, but you can do constellations about everything. This means you can do constellation, for example. Yeah, I did once constellation. Somebody wanted to renovate the house. She bought a house, a very old house, and she wanted to refresh it and renovate this. And after 2 years, nothing functioned. I mean, there was nobody coming to their appointment. Nobody did something. She called and she called, and no, I don't have time. So the house was still, after 2 years, nothing happened. And we did a constellation. This was really crazy. And then I asked, okay, who was the owner of this house before you? And there was an old man. He lived there all his life, but completely alone. And then we did a constellation. We put the house there, we put the client there, and then somebody, a representative for the owner. The owner was dead, but the owner was standing there really alive, laughing and enjoying the fact that he was sabotaging everything. It was his house. He was still feeling alive. He was not alive anymore. And yeah, he didn't want his house to be renovated. So he sabotaged everything. And then during this constellation, we said to him, like, hi, you are dead now. And he was like, oh, whoa, you're seeing me. You're seeing what I'm doing. Oh, no. And then, you're dead. Oh, no, I'm dead. I don't want to be dead. And then we put dead, a representative for dead also. And then slowly he accepted that he was dead. And then he felt also the light of the dead part. So after that, there is a new path for you, of course. And this he didn't know, and he experienced it for the first time. And then he was so glad that he saw the light again, and he could let go of the house, and he could say, sorry for what I did. I didn't realize that I was dead. Or I didn't want it to go that. And then he could go, and then the house was free. And then, okay, we went home. And then after, I think 2 months, I got a mail from this client, and she was saying like, Els, I'm so glad there are already a few people working in the house and things are going on now. So it was really crazy. So this was about the house. You can also do constellations about work, for example. When you have, for example, a difficult relationship with your boss, you can do a constellation. Or even for the company, when the company has difficulties, then you can do a constellation and look where the blockage is. So you can do this too, or the other way around. You've got a company and they want to have more success. You can work with this. And in fact, this is called organization constellations. So this also exists. But in fact, each system that you work with, you can do a constellation with. So for example, I did once a constellation. I was not the facilitator, that's somebody else, but with the horoscope, the astrology, and the planets. So each system that you choose, and then you say to somebody, okay, you are Mars, you are the Earth, you are then, and you give them a place in the space, then they are going to feel this information and start to tell about this information. So each system that you do a constellation with becomes alive. So it's really magical. Yeah, it's really magical. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, that's wonderful. Um, I love that. I love that. Thank you, Els, for sharing about that and the story also. And we have a question from Haley. Do you have to identify if the origin is a past life, a family pattern, or other entity when exploring constellations?
Yeah, it's very interesting. The way I see it is that we have past lives, but we choose a family system to heal certain patterns that we have from the past lives, and then we choose a family system to live this pattern again, or to relive this pattern again, and to be able to heal this pattern. So I think when you do family constellation, you work with your family, with the people of your family, but there are also previous lives that are getting healed with the same topic. For example, if there is sexual abuse in different previous lives, but you have this experience, or maybe your mother, not you, but you copied the patterns, and you heal this in a family constellation, you heal also this of the previous lives. And on the other hand, you can also do constellations with previous lives. You can say, okay, you are this person of my life when this happened, and you are the perpetrator, and you are the victim, and we're going to see what happens. So this is also possible. But for me, I think we can work with the here and now and with the patterns that we encountered in this life to also transform them from previous lives or other dimensions, parallel lives. Yeah, yeah, it's an
Yeah.
interesting question.
Wonderful. Yeah. Thank you, Els, and thank you, Haley, for your question. And Els, do you want to share more about the subject, or we take more questions from the audience?
And the subject, I'm thinking maybe another. Yeah, indeed, I want to tell something. Another interesting topic in family constellations is your place in your family. So when there has been miscarriages or abortions or other things, other brothers, sisters that were born, but you don't know about them. And then, for example, your mother and your father, they get you as a baby and you think you are the first person and they don't tell you anything. So you're the first, and then you get a brother and he's the second. So you think you're the first, but you're not, because there was already a miscarriage before you, or maybe your mother or your father had a previous relationship where there was one child who died, for example, or still living and not being told about this person, then you can't find your position in life. You can't find your own place in life. And this is also a very interesting topic in family constellations. So when this person asks a family constellation, like, I don't find my position or my place, not in my work, not in my family. Sometimes in one-on-one friends, it's okay, but in a group, I feel insecure, and sometimes this can be the cause because you are not in the right place. You are, in fact, this place is the number one, is of this other child. So you are standing in the energy, of the other child. And then you can't find your own way because it's not yours. It's not your energy. And then it's important in a constellation, it can be shown like, okay, there was a child before you. Do you know something about this? And sometimes they do, like, oh, yes, I heard it one time. Somebody was telling me. Or sometimes there's like, whoa, no, I don't know. And then these people have to check with their parents if it is true, if something happened, and so forth and so forth. So this is also a very important topic. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's important to have communication with the parents,
Yeah.
and because it can help to understand some patterns we are
Your
having.
own journey. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. But sometimes, of course, the parents experienced this, but they thought it was not important. They forget about it, or it was too heavy and they put it away not to feel it anymore, and then they don't know it anymore. So this is also possible. It's not always a conscious a choice of our parents to not tell something. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Els. And so do we take questions from the audience?
Yeah, okay, it's good.
So again, everyone, if you want to ask your question, you can raise your hand by pressing react, then raise hand on Zoom, or by pressing *9 on your phone. And also you can type your questions on the chat boxes on Zoom and on YouTube. And let's see, we have Sue on the phone. Can you please unmute yourself?
Hi, Montessette.
Hi, Sue.
Hi, my name is Sue. You were talking about, well, I was an only child, and I assume you were also, so you kind of know where I'm coming from by being an only child.
I don't understand your question.
With me being an only child, I had like the patterns in my family where I was like the ping pong ball.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
mm-hmm.
you know, you're like your father, or no, you're like your mother, or whatever. And the pattern being, I always felt that I wasn't loved.
Yeah.
But then as my mother had passed, we kind of squared that away. But a lot of it was because she was very jealous of me because my dad made me number one, not her.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I can explain the situation a little bit, but I can also take you through a little healing process. What do you prefer?
Whatever you think is best. I'll leave that up to you.
Yeah. Can I take you into a little meditation or a visualization? Is this okay for you?
That's fine. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. And to invite your mother and your father. Can you see or feel them?
Yes, they have both passed, but they're always around me. Yes.
Okay. And now you can say to them, "Hi, mother. Hi, father. I feel your relation issues, your relation problems between you two." Yeah, you can start with this.
Okay. Hi, mother. Hi, dad. Yeah, they're both standing here. They're looking at me.
Yeah, good. Yeah. And then you can say, "I can feel your relation problems."
I can feel your relation
problems.
From.
Yeah. But I can't heal this in your place.
Can't heal this in your place.
It is your responsibility, not mine.
It is your responsibility, not mine.
And what is happening in your image or your feeling? Or
I'm feeling their love and they're saying they're sorry. It wasn't.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful. It wasn't, how do I put it? It wasn't, they weren't aware of it.
Yeah.
They just were not it. Because I never talked about it. I never told them how I felt. I would just go in my room and cry.
Yeah, of course. And maybe at that time they wouldn't have understood you neither when you would have said this. But now they can.
Right. Because they would always say to me, we don't have to say we love you. We show you.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
That was not enough for you. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I understand now. Yeah. I was shown love, but not in the way I expected it.
Yeah. And now you may imagine that you see your parents standing there and they say, I'm sorry to you. And they are also saying, like, you don't have to carry this anymore. You can go your own path.
Yeah. Because they said that now feel our unconditional love. And
beautiful.
The bonding between us now is so much closer than when they were alive. I mean, I think because my mom and dad were never really shown love, how could they show it to me?
Yeah, that's true. That's completely true. Yeah.
I think as we're talking now, it's like I just didn't see the whole picture and realize what they went through. And basically it was passed on to me because, like you said, it was a family pattern. My grandmother was German descent, strong-willed, you do as I say, and she just never showed a lot of love. To me, in a way, she did, but not to her kids.
Yeah, it was surviving mentality. Yeah.
Right. My mother came over like the boat stuff, so she survived. Right.
Yeah.
And I was always told I have her strong constitution, like my grandmother.
Yeah. There are also advantages, of course, and good characteristics. Yeah. I'm going to finish this with one movement. Now you may imagine that you turn and that your parents are supporting you in the back and that you are looking towards your own path. So you get the support of your parents.
Away now. They both said, "We love you. Now go do your thing." And they're just walking off into like just down like a beautiful sunset. And I'm just standing there waving goodbye, and I'm turning around now and coming my way.
Yeah, very beautiful. And how does it feel for you?
I have a lot of relief, a lot of peace.
Nice.
Very peaceful heart right now, because even though they had passed, I never really could say what I wanted to say, but it doesn't matter. Even in death, you could still say what you want to say.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay, I would say take this piece with you and try to feel it again tomorrow and the day after. So repeat it a few times. Yeah.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was very peaceful.
Okay,
and I
thank
felt
you very much. I'm glad to hear
Thank
this.
you. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. And
You're
blessings
welcome.
to you.
Thank you.
And Mana said thank you very much and blessings and lots of love to you too.
Thank you.
Thank
to
you
you
very
as well.
much.
Thank you, Sue. And thank you very much, Els. That was very beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
And a question from Renee. I am a female twin and my brother is a male. Being a twin has another added layer of pattern upon family patterns. Which pattern would take priority with the constellation? Like the twin or the family patterns?
I think both are important. You just have to feel what is most activated for you. The pattern that you suffer most from is the pattern you best start with. And also when you do a constellation or you ask a constellation for this topic, the constellation is going to show which first step you can take. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Els. And also thank you, Renee, for your question. She wrote, I am currently not speaking with my twin, but was initiated by mother's passing.
And your twin has died or is still alive?
Renee, you can also unmute yourself if you feel comfortable doing that. My twin is alive and mother has died.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, between brothers and sisters, for example, what I was telling also about your own place between your peers, when there is a miscarriage, an abortion, or sometimes a twin that is not alive, it can also come between brothers and sisters, and then there is a lot of agitation because the energy is not in the right place, and yeah, there is not a nice relationship. So, and of course, other patterns can become in between also. Yeah, there are a lot of patterns that can come between brothers and sisters. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, Els, and thank you, Renee, for the question. And yeah, so now, Els, I would love if we can take some time to talk about the group sessions you will be hosting, and also there is also one-on-one private session. So I invite everyone to visit the page yourdivineuniqueness.com/else, yourdivineuniqueness.com/else, ELS. Also, you can click on the special offer button, which is on the live events page, later on the replay page. The link also is available on YouTube video description, and I will put it on the chat boxes on Zoom and on YouTube. So we have like package A, it's about restoring the masculine within through family constellations, 4 live groups plus replays. And package B, welcoming the nurturing feminine through family constellations, also 4 live groups plus replays. And then package C includes both A and B plus 30 minutes one-on-one private session with Els. So yeah, so Els, I would love if you can tell us about this program.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Thank you. So about masculine energy, we're going in these group sessions. I'm going to give a meditation and activation. And we're going to look at our father, the relationship with our father, and what if there is still a blockage between you both, and how to heal it. And then next time we're going to walk the lineage of the male energies, and see if there are things that can shift and that wants to be said and that wants to be healed, and then come back to our own place again. So there we're going to make contact with father, grandfather, great-grandfather, and so forth and so forth. And then we're also going to invite the divine masculine energy, or the healthy masculine energy, to connect with, because sometimes we didn't get the things we needed from our father, but then it's also important to learn where to get it. If you couldn't get it from your father, how can you give it yourself, or how can you invite this energy, a fatherly energy, a warm, welcoming, strong energy that says, like, you may be here on this earth, you may take your space. So we're going to make contact with this masculine energy also. And then the package B is the feminine line. And then we do a little bit the same. So we look at the relationship with our mother, and we look at the blockages that are still between, or the wounds, or the injuries from when you were little and what you've missed. And if we can heal something there. And then another group session, it's about the lineage, your mother, your grandmother, your great-grandmother. And then we're going to feel what can move there. And then with the mother, we are also going to look at the birth and try to cut through the umbilical cord again, and look energetically what is still needs to cut through there. And then at the end, we also make connection with the divine mother energy, the supportive, warm, welcoming mother energy. And try to heal our wounds and to heal the lack we had about this energy. Yeah. And then, of course, as you said, the package C is these 2 group sessions, and then you get a private session of 30 minutes included. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then you can ask, of course, each question you want to ask, or where you felt that is not completely healed yet during the group sessions, then we can look together to your situation. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the private session can be about the constellation, or also can maybe like inner child healing, like depending on the question.
Yeah. Indeed. Yeah. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah. Beautiful. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Els. Very grateful to you for offering these programs, and really honored to share your work with our audience here. So thank you again for this opportunity.
Yeah.
And so everyone, I invite you to sign up for one of these 3 packages on the link yourdivineuniqueness.com/else, yourdivineuniqueness.com/else, ELS. Or you can click on the special offer button, which is on the live events page, later on the replay page. The link also on YouTube video description and the chat boxes on Zoom and on YouTube. And so just another question regarding the private session. Does it need to be after the classes, the group sessions, or before? Or is it doesn't?
You can choose. It can be before already. But when you encounter something during the group sessions, it's also easy to do it afterwards or during the group sessions. Yeah.
Wonderful. And I just want to mention that the first group session will happen on July 10. Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
So can we take more questions?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So again, everyone, if you want to ask a question, you can raise your hand by pressing react, then raise hand on Zoom, or press *9 on your phone, and also you can type them on the chat boxes. So we have a question from Linda. I feel such a huge sense of responsibility and seriousness each time I learn a new modality. As the oldest child in my family, that was also a part of my role. Any suggestions to lighten this aspect up, to have more fun, wonder, and excitement with these wonderful things I am learning? Thanks so much.
That is because you carried too much responsibility when you were a child. And then it's very important to learn to see the wounds of your parents and to give them back to them. You don't have to do it in real life, but you can do it on your own in your private space and try to imagine to give the trauma of your parents back to them. Because when you carry too much, you are very responsible, and then you attract responsibility in your relationships, in your work, in life, and things becomes too heavy because it's not yours to carry. And then the joy can't come in anymore because everything is getting too heavy. But when you learn to only take your own responsibility, then your own light can come back in again, and then the joy can come back again. Because when you are carrying other people's stuff, then and of course you learn it with your parents, then it's not your own energy. So your own energy is going further and further away because there is already other energy, and then it can't come in, and then the joy doesn't come through, and your heart can't go open so easily anymore. So it's very important to learn to give the patterns back. And it's nice when you know the patterns. Well, okay, my mother endured this, I'm going to leave this to her so that she is able to transform this. But sometimes you don't know, and then you can just give it back by intention. Just, okay, I carried patterns of you, I don't know which ones, but I give them back. And then you can feel if you're able to give it back. Because sometimes when you try to give a pattern back, then you are so focused on the others that you couldn't feel yet your own woundings very good. And when you give patterns back, you are more conscious of your own wounds, your own emotions. And that can be heavy too in the beginning, when you start to recognize them. And sometimes it's easier to just be focused on other people and not feeling your own wounds. So it's a difficult process, but it's it's worthwhile going for it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It can be sometimes challenging to take responsibility of our own patterns, because we try to avoid them because we judge ourselves so much, and we are afraid that if we look deeper, then we will find like something that will confirm our judgments, and it's like we believe that we are doing something bad or we are wrong. So
Yeah, indeed.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Beautiful. And Hailey, she wrote, "This is great. I'm excited to try this with my own patterns. Thank you, Els."
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Linda,
letting us know.
yeah. Linda, she wrote, "Thanks so much. That really resonated with me." Beautiful. So
Yeah, nice.
yeah. So Els, would you like maybe to share a message with our audience before we complete the call?
Yeah, what I wanted to say is be gentle with yourself. We have endured thousands years before us of trauma in history. I think it is such a long time ago that healing rituals were normal. I think maybe in Atlantis, or maybe during the Egyptian period, there were beautiful periods. There were also bad periods, of course, but then everything went down, 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 and this patriarchy came, the very dominant male energy came, and all the feeling and healing was wiped out. Then during the Middle Ages, you got burned on the stakes because you were too spiritual or too much healing qualities. So it has been a very long time that the people on Earth were able to heal. So now that this healing energy comes back alive again, of course, a lot of patterns are coming up, a lot of emotions we have to work through. And that's why it's important to be gentle with yourself when you feel emotions that you don't like, or you think already worked on this one and it comes back, and just try to be gentle. We are just human beings with light side and shadow side, of course, and we have to learn to balance these two also. So it's okay to feel your own wounds and emotions, and then have a very good day, and then maybe a bad day or a last day. So be gentle with yourself and give yourself a little bit of peace. Yeah. And listen to what your body needs. Because we are doing such beautiful work. Each one of us, everyone who is listening here, or is interested in this kind of work, yeah, you're doing great. So be gentle with yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much. Thanks. That was very beautiful message. So thank you, Els, for that, for everything you shared with us, for the guidance you gave to our audience, and yeah, also for the group classes and one-on-one session being available to work with our audience. So I'm so grateful to you.
Yeah, and thank you very much, Montse, for having me. It was very nice to talk to you. And I also want to thank Erica von Eaton for connecting us together. And she also helped me to trust my talents more. So I'm very grateful to her too. And to you, what you are doing in this world, that you are showing to a lot of people. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Els.
Okay.
And yeah, we have some feedback. Tom wrote, "I can testify Els is very good and nice." Linda, thank you. Wonderful call.
Yay. Thank you.
And another one from Martin, I think is in Dutch. I can't read it.
Yeah.
Renee, thank you both. And yeah, so everyone, thank you so much for being here with us today, sharing with us this time and space. Thank you for your energies, whether you are on the live call or on the replay. And again, you can sign up through the packages that Els is offering to us on the link yourdivineuniqueness.com/else, yourdivineuniqueness.com/else, ELS. Or you can click on the special offer button, which is on the live events page, later on the replay page, the link also on YouTube video description, and the chat boxes on Zoom and YouTube. And yeah, so with that, everyone, I'm sending you so much love, and I will see you on the next call. Bye for now.